Welcome to Fuji and round 3 of the Super GT season. Fabulous weather conditions, which it has to be said is unusual for this part of the world. Normally Mount Fuji shrouded in cloud, and when that happens, apparently it means ill fortune for those on the grid. Well, there's been a real mix, I can tell you, after qualification as they go around this magnificent circuit on the formation lap. The good news for Mr. Tachikawa is that the 5 times winner here will be on pole. Peter Dumbreck will be starting off in the 35 car, trying to chase him down. More on that in just a moment. For now, though, it's a chance to take a look at this fabulous, fabulous arena, the Fuji Speedway, which is our venue for this one. Round 3 of Super GT. My name is Carlton Kirby, and alongside me, a former sports car ace, still a racer in perhaps mind rather than body, and certainly skill levels, Tony Delahunty. Welcome, Tony.
Yes, thanks, Carlton, and this is going to be a very interesting race indeed. I mean, who would bet against Tachikawa? He's the current champion. The man who he'll change with, Toranosuke Takagi. They set the pole time. It'll be Tachikawa to start off, 1:33.169. And in fact, Tachikawa has won 5 times on this circuit. That's the Zenchirumo SC car. It's going to be very interesting to see if anyone can best that, but one person who will certainly be trying, or 2 in fact, will be Peter Dumbreck, the Scottish driver, and Naoki Hattori. They share the front row of the grid, and they're just about 9/10 of a second difference between those 2. On the second row will be Andre Kuto. Hironaka will go second in that car. That is the Super GT car. And then on that second row as well, you'll also find Yushi Wakasaka, who went so well with Andre Lotterer when they were at the previous circuit at Okayama. That really, they went well there. Of course, the man who leads this champion, Ryo Michigami, he is starting some way back. He qualified only 8th on the grid. Michigami was the winner at Okayama with the Honda NSX. In fact, Honda finished 1st and 2nd there. Sebastian Philippe putting in a great drive too. So it's very interesting with the NSXs, the Hondas taking on the Toyota, or Lexus if you like to call them, the SC430s. But the man in pole is Tachikawa.
Yeah, interesting, Tony, that really this series, perhaps more than any other, is one where weight penalties play an enormous part. And the man who leads the championship coming into this race in the Dome NXS is, of course, Takeshi Kogure and Michigami, Ryoku Michigami. They are the leaders coming here, but they're carrying 90 kilos of extra ballast because of their success. And it really, really does leave a mixed field. It's virtually impossible to win every race in this series, Tony.
Absolutely right. Looking at the courage of that weight, as I said before, you know, Koguri and Michigami carrying 90 kilos, you say, they're in 8th on the grid. The highest on the grid of the weight carriers, the penalty carriers, if you like, is Andre Lotterer, the Portuguese driver, with Yushi Wakisaka, with the open interface Tom's SC430. They start with 40 kilos aboard, car number 36, and just behind that one, Ralph Furman's there, by the way. And Ralph Furman, well, his start to the season hasn't been all that bad. I'm looking at the points table as I speak at the moment, and Furman is currently in what it really is in, 4th equal place with some 20 points. But at the moment in this championship, the man with the most points, Michigama, is up there with 38.
Well, as you can see, this fabulous, fabulous arena. Coming round to what is the longest start-finish straight in racing, frankly. It's 1.475 miles long. You'll have to do the maths yourself to work out the kilometres. It's a mighty distance. And it's got a little crown to it as well, Tony. A little dip here, then a rise, and then a fall. But it's straight line speed, and by the time they come to the first turn, the obviously known as the first corner, that is in fact what they call it here, it is an extremely sharp right.
Somebody's peeling off for the pits there, Carlton. That looks to me like the Toyota of Andre Kuto. So they're starting with something of a problem, or not starting with something of a problem.
Nightmare scenario, Tony.
And there's the red lights, and it's Tachikawa, the man that most would predict perfect here. He's had 5 victories on this Fuji circuit. He's the current champion. He's starting in the car.
And we've gone to green, Tony, and Peter Dumbrack is trying his level best to send his 430 round the leading SC. Lexus is then out in front, and this is a super start. They need to keep it tight here, but certainly need to keep it sensible as well as they come into the first curve here. Tony, it's very a huge field compression going on, but they're clean through.
Tashikawa went through into the lead there, and behind him was Peter Dumbrack. That was interesting, but then they're going all this way, but loose on that far corner. Let me tell you, that is the pole man, Kazuo Takahashi. He's gone. Sosu has sugar. I think they're going to be able to keep going, but that would have lost them a fair amount of time. That is the first row, the pole man, and the man in third place, grounded on the island.
Yeah, the 300 starting as they do in sequence just behind, and the pole man already down and dusted. Well, fabulous conditions it may well be, but for others, as you can see, the nightmare just rings out. The Saab Supra GT, Andrei Kuto, the man who was taking the opening drive here, and I just wonder what it is, Tony.
I'm just getting it in my ears as I speak at the moment. Information coming in from the pits. It's alternator problems. They've got alternator problems there. Kuto may be able to join the race, but he's going to have some big disadvantage. Meanwhile, Tashikawa has the lead. Dumbrack in second place. Or rather, Dumbrack in second place at the moment. Andrei Lotterer is up there as well. Loic Naval is in fourth place as I speak at the moment. But the man who's won 5 times before is looking for 6 wins. That's Yuji Tashikawa.
Oh, and it goes on as well, Tony. This is a circuit that they're desperately trying to get up to Formula 1 standards, and essentially there's plenty of runoff knocking around here, and thank goodness for that as well. The 52 car beached for the time being. Lots of vehicles for you to watch out for, and the Ford GT is certainly one of those. Absolutely beautiful looking machine. The 300 class does hold a number of familiar looking road cars within the group itself, and it's a fascinating battle. Here you can see Porsche GT's coming down the inside. There's so much going on. Oh, nightmare!
I can tell you the car
braking absolutely desperately late there, coming into the right-hander. It is a very tight one. The field does compress, and you can see the safety line as well, which does force them out. Once cars are actually in the pits, well, they do have to steer clear of that line, both of them, to keep it safe. Let's have a look at it here, Tony.
Well, that's Satishi Matsusada there, the car number 110. We're getting the slow-mo. He just couldn't get it round. He just couldn't get the braking right, couldn't get anywhere near the apex, and just slid on there. Rather lucky to get away with that, really. It could have taken 2 or 3 cars off. But I can tell you it's still at the front. The battle that's been going there. It's Tashikawa rather, with the pole position man with the red silver car. Then Peter Dumbrack up there as well, and this is really quite a battle. But what I'm looking at the moment is to see if there's going to be a change here, because that first car was giving some sort of a signal to the pits. I'm not sure what that was, but there appears to be something wrong at the front.
Well, a real sequence mess there, going through and taking some shortcuts, and any perceived advantage will be punished, I can tell you, most certainly. I'm just trying to get an idea of it, Tony, but basically if you're taking a shorter route through, penalties do follow here.
Yeah, the stewards already are getting a report on that, I can tell you. We've got communication with the pit road as well. That is the 66 car of Andrei Kuto coming out of the pits. It did have alternator problems. They're going to hope that that is going to be all right now, but whether it will, we do not know. We're still looking at car number 1. That is Takahashi. That is the man with the lead. That is the championship leader, and Peter Dumbrack is trying to hunt him down at the moment. We can tell you at the moment, there you are, that's the confirmation of that leader. Dumbrack in second place, then it's the open interface car of Andrei Lotterer. But I think there's going to be a change here at the moment, because something is definitely going wrong with that first car. It's talking to the pits as I speak at the moment, and there it is, it's dived. I thought he was going to dive for the pit road. That's the chicane. No, I thought he was going to dive for the pit road. Dumbrack's hauling that car in.
The gap certainly is closing here, Tony, and when you've got class behind you as well, the Suzuki winner, the open interface Tom's SC430, it's all about Lexus out at the front at the moment. What have they found this year?
Well, it's certainly going very quickly indeed, the SC 430s. That's further back in the GT300.
Being led by Jim, the Ferrari of the Jim Center's Ferrari, the number 11, the Tomo GT3R, the number 26 in second place, and it's the Hankook Porsche running in third for now. Just looking down there, the 408R running in sixth place just for the time being. Zend in the lead, coming as he does across here, and just look at the speeds that they're mounting here. The track temperature as well is on the rise. Haven't got an exact centigrade for you at this time being. You can see the heat haze coming through. You can see bodywork damage as well. The 27 car has picked up some of the bruises that have been handed out here, and there's been plenty so far, Tony.
Well, I can tell you about 27 as I speak.
It's the Advan 320.
And that's one of the GT300 cars. That'll, of course, be receiving a flag to come in. But meanwhile, up at the front, what is happening there? There's going to be a change very shortly indeed. I'm looking to see if what we heard before was true, that Tashikawa had a problem. I think Tashikawa has a problem.
He's certainly slowing, Tony.
There he is. He's got anything. John Breck's the lead. John Breck's the lead. Tashikawa is heading for the pits. He's heading in slowly. So he's had 5 victories here. This doesn't look like it's going to be a 6th.
So Zed Karumo is coming into the pits. Tachikawa, he may have 5 in the bag coming to this one, but that certainly looks like a nightmare scenario for him. He'll be taking the short route into the pits fairly shortly, as soon as he possibly can, but he's being eaten up by the time being by all the 300, some of the Zeds going by there, and it's a sorry sight, I can tell you. So the Zed is heading in, and Peter Dumbreck takes over the lead here. The Scot in the Bandai Direzza SC430. He's come to Japan here. He knows exactly how to race this sort of circuit. His success last year with Toyota really built him up to such an extent, and basically there he comes through saying thank you very much, lapping his man. So the Zent is heading for a nightmare finish here, Tony, by the looks of things.
Certainly looks that way, but the leaderboard of course has changed now, because Peter Dumbreck, as you so rightly say, has the lead. So it's 2 SC430s with the lead. It's the Scotsman from the German André Lotterer, and then it's the French driver Laurent Duval. Duval with the NSX in third place as I speak at the moment.
The 23 car's got trouble here. The 23 car stuck, and the Nismo Z of Matsuda who's on it there, and he started at the back because of an engine change, and it's going from bad to worse for him. I'm not sure quite how he lost it. Let's have a look on. It was contact. It was contact, Tony. Just nipped in there. A little clip from the 12 car, and it was the 300 of Hoshino, I beg your pardon, not the 300, but yes, amazing. Got a clip, went round, and his race here goes from bad to worse. Welcome back to Suzuki here. There are some stops already being called.
Yeah, like Duval, yeah, we predicted that. Remember we said that when we saw he was taken, we expected that he might make that pit stop. I mean, he's gone in there, like Duval in there with the NSX. We're into lap 30 now. Whether his tyres were going off a little bit or whatnot, I'm not sure, but he's certainly coming out of the car. I think, yes, he is going to come out of the car, is he? Right, like Duval then in the pit road. I think that was going to be the beginning of quite a lot of pit stops. We'll have to watch this very carefully now. I'm looking further back down the field. I can see that Takata there with number 18 has started to climb up a little bit up through the field. He's in 10th place at the moment, but wasn't the best of starts. They're carrying 90 kilos of weight, of course.
Well, Hideki Muto taking over from Duval, who was having a bit of a nightmare out on track, Tony. He was being harried all over the place, and you have to ask a lot of questions when he's on one of the leading cars so far this season, an NSX, carrying absolutely no ballast and still can't get it right here.
Well, frankly, he was co-master and I needed.
Well, most certainly. Out front, however, having a Sunday afternoon drive, as we've already mentioned, is Peter Dumbreck, who is doing an amazing job. Lead car for the 300s is the number 26 of Yamachi, the team Tisan Advan, number 26 car, and just loving it. Oh, and look at this, Tony. There's more exchanges coming in. Some of the lower order vehicles, and I think this is time being called on some of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a lot happening here. Because on the one hand, you've got drivers looking to peel for the pit road, and at the second thing, you've got drivers being lapped, you've got drivers having the race themselves, you've got just about everything happening. You've got to think in 3 dimensions.
You have, there's a lot of slowing down going on, a little bit, exactly, a little bit of a change, but he's got the switchback, I think, coming off this first right-hander side by side, and the car in front is going to harry them here. Wow, oh, wow. Something to think about, perhaps.
Yeah, I've got to tell you at the same time that we're looking at, we're looking here, by the way, at the guy really trying to get back up through that field. The problems right at the beginning for the car number 1, and they are out again now, and I'm watching with very great interest to see what actually is going to happen and see how far they're going to get, just in terms of the speed they're going to be able to do, etc.
That was the leader of the championship, and you can see just how slow and lumbering the car looks. He's carrying 90 kilos of excess baggage in the Dome NSX. Michigami, it's in the hands of Kugore for the time being. He led out here, but Michigami to take over from him when he finally stops, and some of the lead cars are starting to think about it, Tony.
Yeah, well, I think that's Lotterer that's going in there, and he was getting enough pressure on him from Eric Comas. Comas elevates himself from that 11th place start up to 2nd place. Yes, it is Andre Lotterer, and are they going to make the driver change here? Well, no, there's a thumbs up, and he walks away.
You're doing a good job. Stay in there, my friend. Lotterer stays on board, and this was the strategy they used at Suzuka as well.
I don't think the reason is that they think he's doing a good job. I think that, well, he is, but I think what they're saying is we maybe make the quicker pit stop without having the driver change. But
nothing quick about this, Tony.
No, they're making a mess of it. I mean, having made that at the same time, I think they're changing all 4 wheels, but it's going to be just over 30 seconds. And there was something there on the front wheel. I don't know if there's a problem, but they're getting them on in unison at the moment. This is Andre Lotterer, the German driver, was in 2nd place. He'll have dropped back down the field, but we're going to be watching.
Hellish stop, 40 seconds.
Yeah, we're going to have to watch some of the others here and see just exactly what is going on, and see if we can time some of the others. I mean, Peter Dumbreck, of course, still out there in the lead. He's yet to come in. Eric Comas yet to come in. Lotterer has come in. Duval has come in. So we're going to have some changes in a moment of 3. Lotterer remains in the car. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be interesting to see whether Peter Dumbreck will remain in the car. Whether Peter Dumbreck will remain in, or whether Hattori will take over.
On fresh rubber here, Lotterer staying in for a double stint this time around. We're expecting a couple of stops in this race, and that's the first of them. You can certainly set Wacky Saka will just drag him out if he doesn't get out next time. Still not sure why that one took so long, because it certainly looked a lengthy stop there, Tony.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see what some comparison of some of those stops were.
Sure.
I mean, we very clearly saw the thumbs up. I think that was a double thumbs up. It also meant things are okay with the car. The car's okay. But, I mean, Lotterer really had his hands full of Comas before that. And it'd be interesting to see that now Comas hasn't got the problem, whether he's able to get that little bit nearer to the leader. It's 8 seconds adrift of him now. Comas's car is flying. I'm telling you, it's flying. And Dumbreck is, maybe he will be conscious of now of what that gap will be.
And there is the leader, in fact, Tony, just gliding away with this one. He's keeping a phenomenal rhythm, Peter Dumbreck. Don't forget, he's out there with nobody to measure himself against, because such is the gap that he's got on those who are pursuing him. And confirmation of the way the GT300s are shaping up for the time being.
That gap's opened a lot.
26 car leading the Hankook Porsche number 14 by over 4.5 seconds, and it's the Wilcom 408R that's starting to close down and start to ask a couple of questions about the second spot there.
I'm looking to see...
Just a moment there, Tony. There was a little bit of an overcorrection by Peter coming in here, and they're not ready for him in the pits, and he's going to go round again. The front end just got away from him coming into the final curve there. It looked a little bit uncomfortable, and I wouldn't be surprised if he comes in next time.
Well, Peter Dumbreck will have something else on his mind as well, as too with his co-driver.
Look at his times.
Yeah, but in round 1 and round 2, they failed to score a single point. They have not opened their championship account yet. It's a long time since victory, and they'll certainly be looking for it. We're on lap 35. I would expect Dumbreck to come in fairly, well, he's going to have to come in fairly shortly.
Well, the rubber's not going to carry him, Tony, and you can see it on his times. He's losing, in the space of 5 laps, he's dropping 3/4 of a second lap by lap on his own times from lap 31 to where we are now, and I just got the feeling that it's time for a change. We certainly saw it on the front end. He got a little bit loose and didn't look that happy. And just looking at the number 2 car here of your friend and mine. In fact, forgive me, I'm just having a look. The Kato is on board the number 2 Prime Zurich Apple Scheiden here.
Comas
out front, it's Comas who's closing.
Half a second a lap. He's bringing half a second down more. And as Comas is getting, or appears to be getting quicker, remember he's got his pit stop to make as well. As Comas is getting quicker, Dumbreck is slowing on the tyre problem that he's got. Comas's tyres appear to be holding out better, and there it is in fact Comas, who's got a whole lot of lap reach.
No, that's Ida on the white car.
That is Aida with a lot of lap reach still to do. You're quite correct there. And Aida at the moment is back in 3rd place.
Yeah, Aida in the white car got himself a little bit of contact earlier on. Eric Comas is no stranger to that. Oh, and look at
lovely.
this. Well, he's showing his intent. He's saying thank you very much, and they've got to watch that they don't get into plenty of changes here. It's so broad and wide, this circuit, Tony, that there is room for error, room for correction, and room to take advantage.
And those flags are waving there, and they're Japanese flags, obviously, that are waving. And they're waving for this man because he really is turning on the style. Akira Aida there in the Mobil 1 Toyota Le Mans team car really is starting to fly. And, you know, he intends to finish up on the podium, and that's 27 being called in, and 27 is Mitsuyama with the Advan 320R. And he'll want to come in because he's not going too well at the moment at all.
No, he's carrying 50 kilos, and it's telling. It really is. 3 car already joining us. It's Yokomoto in the yellow hat machine. So up on the jacks, work to be done, and look at this bodywork damage. I have to tell you, Tony, on the 27 machine, it doesn't look good there. He's it's looking not terminal certainly, but Mitsuyama is being called in, and maybe it's for that reason. They're worried that is going to destabilize and maybe even come up. You can rip that stuff like a Coke can, you know.
But he's on his way into the pits.
It's not just going to be about tyres, it's going to be about locking on a new front end by the looks of things. It's getting a bit ragged on top there. It's certainly going to be something of a distraction, but more than anything else, it's going to be affecting his aerodynamics. It looks heavy, and they're ready for a driver change as well here.
I think we're going to see Peter Dumbreck very shortly. That's obviously the Mobil 1, the Toyota Team Le Mans. So it will be Aida that will be heading in to the pit road. There he is. Aida, the man who started 13th on the grid. He really has got it on him today. But meanwhile, confirmation now, just 4.5 seconds between Comas. Comas is hunting down the man in the lead, the British driver, Peter Dumbreck. Only 4.5 seconds of a lead now. And we're looking at more and more cars, about 2 or 3 about to enter the pit road at the same time. But that was the car that had the problem earlier on in GT300. Takashi and Kato will change places. That's the Apple Scheiden car in GT300. But there
looking at the 62 here, it's Shibahara swapping over with Yagi. Now, they were running in 4th place in the 300 class and had done a great job as well, at least to get the better of the Ferrari Dunlop, the Jim Center Ferrari, in the hands of Tanaka. So lots of changes going on in the 300, Sony.
That's Krum and Yamamoto in the 500s there in the pits. Michael Krum, the German driver. Again, not the best of races for them so far. We'll see what develops later in the race. And there again, that right into the pit garage there with the 27, as you predicted, Carlton.
Yeah, front end. You don't know what had gone wrong with the lockdowns there, but the lock rings certainly had come away. You can't get damage that far back on the bonnet without something more serious up front. It was simply a mechanical problem.
Dumbreck,
a mechanics problem, I should say, nailing it down.
I think we're going to have a change in the lead, obviously. I think we're going to be having Peter Dumbreck coming out of the pit road. That is not Dumbreck. We've got Peter Dumbreck, I think, entering the pits any time now.
I think well, Peter's certainly getting ready. His crew are certainly getting ready, but he's sticking with it for the time being, Tony. He's still out there.
Yeah, he's still out there at the moment, but I think
he's not
they're
slowing
waiting
either.
And I think on that last lap, he actually expected to come in, and that is the the car 26, the leader in GT300, now making his change. He'd opened up a little bit of a gap. It was something like 4.5 seconds, but now he's dived into the pit road. They'll make the driver change there. So that's Yamaji and Nishizawa making the change, and they will be out again in just a moment. I'm looking at the time it's taking for the change of the GT300 car. I don't know we'll be able to make a comparison. It was about just on 30-odd seconds was the...
It's interesting, though. They do the backup and the front up when they do the changes. The jacks working opposing each other means fewer men over the pit wall. You see the back end come down, and then the front end will go up for the change of the front wheels.
Well, maybe the Lotterer non-change wasn't that bad then, Carlton, because look at the time that this change is taking, and you know, that maybe they have to change so much with it that not changing the driver, well, I don't know. I mean, you could have changed the driver twice over. You could have come out the other side and gone shopping.
So, for those of you who are wondering what's happened to Mark Cole and David Leslie, they're having a little bit of a sabbatical for this one, but of course we'll be back with you for the remainder of the Super GT season here on Motors TV. And there is the exit, and there is the exit white line, and you've got to be so careful not to breach it. It's there for a very good reason, and all the other cars lights ablaze. They have to be when they're coming over. They're warned that there are cars exiting. You can see it on the light bridge as it goes there, and others still coming in here. We've got the Comas in the 24 car, and still Dumbreck stays out. He may well have looked like he was slowing to come in, Peter, but Tony, but he was effectively just still not got it hooked up, and all the leaders are starting to pit, and Peter can't ignore this.
Well, Comas was only 4 seconds off, and we're just seeing the number 6 car in there just as we speak at the moment. So at the same time as Aida's in, Comas is in. We got second and third in the pits, but the first man is staying out there, and of course his lead will be extending as I speak. But it's a slightly false, well, it's a very false situation because he's got yet to come in. So there we are. We're looking at the times between the two of them, but this is going to give us a comparison with the Lotterer stop.
I wonder how clean they're going to keep it on the exit here, Tony, because they know each other, don't they? They certainly have here.
Yes, I mean they brushed with each other before.
Oh, lights it up, just getting away though. He's got to be so careful here on the exit, and the times separated by 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, but they should join us where they were before. I think Comas will join.
Well, they were very widely spaced on this phenomenal pit facility here. Yeah. It really is up to top standards, and we're just having a look to see if Peter Dumbreck is slowing to make the entrance into the pits, and he's not.
No, well, he can keep going, but Aida now in third place, Comas in second.
Oh, beg your pardon. Well, he shimmied, and he fooled me.
Yeah, well, he's in.
Lap 39, Peter Dumbreck decides to hell with it.
I think
he heard us.
I think he was coming in 2 laps before, and for some reason, maybe the team looked at the other two coming in together.
It would be too crowded.
Yeah, and said, okay, we don't want a shambles in the pits. We don't want to be racing against everybody else. Let's keep it cool. Let's keep it calm. These two are changing, so it's going to be Naoki who's going to take over now. Dumbreck having done a very good job indeed. Naoki Hattori will take over. They must feel, although they'll be worried about it, that it could just be their day, but they'll be fingers crossed in that pit.
Well, you see the little, it looks like a postage stamp stuck on the windscreen. That will start to flash. Better had to. There it goes, you see. It tells you. Maybe it was just because he almost stalled it, held on, and got away cleanly. Well, that is supposed to flash. Goodness only knows why it's not, but there you go.
Yeah, but now it is. They have had the change in driver there. So Dumbreck has done his stint, so to speak, for the moment. But has he done enough? Because is he going to rejoin in the lead?
Here we come. This is where it tells.
I think we're going to find Lotterer has actually got the lead. Lotterer with a slightly slower pit stop. Lotterer, is he through there? Yeah, 36. We have a different leader, Andre Lotterer. So it's still the same 2 marks of car. It's the Toyota Lexus SC2.
Oh dear, oh dear! Look at that! It's a nightmare. That's an ill-fitted wheel, and he's back in. He felt the vibration. He was already heading back. He knew there was something wrong, and that is disaster after such a battle. Eric Comas, what can you do?
Well, Yanagada's aboard him now. That's not his fault. Whatever happened in that pit road? I mean, that car was flying.
Unbelievable.
They must have thought they were on for a possible overall victory here. All of a sudden it goes wrong. Out it goes. They've got a seat at the wheel now. Really, that's end of story.
That's a real shame. Comas had nursed it brilliantly, taken it round. They'd made the driver change, and they're sending in some of the carbon dioxide here just to sort of cool everything down, just try and ease the situation.
But isn't that the wonders of this type of racing? Because we saw Tashikawa earlier on, 5 times winner here, the current champion. He leads it away. You think he's going to get, 6 wins. A couple of laps later, he's heading for the pits. He's got problems. He comes out again, back in again. And here we now have Comas, who was flying, getting closer and closer to the lead. Got himself on the podium from starting grid 11. Out they go. And then the fat lady starts playing the piano a bit too early for them.
You can't credit it. What you can credit is the way that these LCs are out there and just dominating, the SCs I should say, dominating. The Lexus SC430, where did this car come from? Many of you may be asking. Well, it may be running a little bit light so far. Welcome back. We're just having a look at some of the those. Well, I hate to say also rans, I have to say, Tony, because Kajori Matsuda in the 19 car in the 300 class is currently in second place. What's going on there?
Well, I can tell you the leader at the moment, and there's still some cars yet to stop, is that 46 Kota Sasaki and Takubamba with the Dereza Z car are leading that class. They started on the 3rd row of the grid, but a remarkable drive from Matsuda with the Celica, because they started, well, 17th on the grid, so they started in fact on the 9th row of the grid. 96 is currently in 3rd place. 96 the Evero team V50R with Kurosawa aboard it, and 110 who started in 3rd place on the grid, and 110 has dropped back to 4th now.
Look at the leaders, here they are, and look at that, the 36 car is being harried and hounded here, and it's Dumbreck's other half, if you like, Hattori, who is chasing him down, and he's putting him under a tremendous amount of pressure here, Tony.
There's nothing being... That was a quite big question, wasn't it? Hattori, not really with the pedigree, and perhaps he will forgive me for that. I've been looking at his recent results over the last few years, but no doubt he is seriously after Andre Lotterer. Lotterer, of course, has been in that car since the start of the race, so I mean, it begs the question of how hard he's having to work as well. But catching him is one thing, passing him is another.
Most definitely, and the door. These are wide cars as well. Don't forget that, and especially on the some of the more technical areas. You've seen if they try and make it through, try and get a nose in front, it really is wheel to wheel. It's door banging stuff, which we love to see here on Motors TV. Of course, Peter Dumbreck did plenty of that in DTM. I think you were talking about the sort of lack of stability of some of the cars, or certainly I was, as his tyres started to go off. He was well used to that, wasn't he, in DTM, when he had some of the lesser vehicles, particularly towards the end of his DTM career so far. You never know, it may be a story he revisits. He was always wrestling with the Opels and always seemed to get the absolute maximum. Says, incidentally, Peter, that coming here has made him so relaxed. He just feels that they understand when a driver does his best, but maybe doesn't provide the result. Well, they're looking for a result here after 62 laps.
Hattori pressurising Andre Lotterer, and Lotterer, well, he flicks his lights there as he goes on towards the pit road, where his teammate Peter Dumbreck is watching and hoping, because it's been some time since they've actually won a race. That's the 35 car team of Toyota Team Craft, the SC430, but they are chasing after Lotterer. There in the pits, telling its own story, is the Takata car. And looking at number 6 there, the man that a lot of the Japanese fans here are really waving their banners for. That was the change that was made earlier. Excellent work by the man who started 13th on the grid, Akida. Now it's Kataoko who's aboard that one. And there's we see a change into GT30 there. Well, that's not GT30, in fact. That's the number 3 car, which has gone through. The yellow hat, Tamika Z with that Fair Lady Z power. Juan Paulo Lima de Oliveira was on it before. Now it's Yokomizo.
Well, the Mobile 1 is a 40 seconds adrift, so it really is all about the two up front here, the 35 and 36, close numerically, and certainly close here, all over the back of each other. And positions changed after the first pit stop, where Peter Dunbreck got out of the car. It's now in the hands of Hattori, the young man, and he's on it here. The Hankook Porsche in the 14 and the Jim Center Ferrari swapping spots here. They as well, very, very tight. Each of the categories here, Tony, locked together as we go past halfway.
We've got some very, very interesting racing here at Fuji. Don't go anywhere. This is going to go, I'm sure, right down to the wire. It's, you know, there's two classes here where just about anything can happen. That Hankook Porsche, Hankook, the tyres there, never having had a podium at this level, looking for that podium today. At the moment, they're leading their portion of the motor race. We've, well, just over half race distance gone, still half of the race then to go, but you don't need to be a brain surgeon to sort that out with half gone, half to go. But up the front, the real question being asked is Hattori clever enough to get past Lotterer? At the moment, he's been good enough and quick enough to get with him, but can he pass him? Big question.
Well, some of the numbers that we were reading out to you earlier have actually made their pit stop, so forgive us for perhaps overjuicing the likes of those who started a little bit further down the grid, but it's order returned now. We've spooled through the majority, the real sort of steak in the dinner, if you like, of exactly what of the pit stops, and it's the 14 car that's out in front and looking comfortable, save for the harrying and hectoring he's being given by the Ferrari Dunlop in the hands of Aoki.
Are you hungry?
I am.
Are you overjuicing the steak in the middle? I'll tell you one man who's very, very hungry indeed at the moment, and that's the man who's in second place, and how much he would like to get through, but he's got no answer yet, because Hattori are still trying to get past Lotterer. And of course,
oh, look at this. The leaders once again just having a look in the far. He wants through here. He wants a piece of the action. And this may be his chance here. A long drag and a chance to use a bit of drafting. But the Porsche is pulling away. He's pulling away. He's got his man. He's just running away with it once again. And it's the 14 car, the Hankook Endless Porsche, in the hands of Mineo, who's just gone away again. Look at that. And by the time we get to the split, they were probably about 2.2 of a second apart, and all of a sudden, halfway down that massive straight, it's almost up to a second.
Yeah, but the other thing is, of course, if you're going to make a dive, if you're going to make a move to go, you have to account for the fact that if you're blocked, you're going to lose time coming out.
Sure.
You know, so that also is what happened there. But there we've got Lotterer. There's Hattori. There's a car in the sandwich, a GT300 in the
the Suzuka winners are the ones who are in control of this one, Tony. And the way he actually handled the traffic there was almost majestic. Got himself, it just set the car up almost into a lovely little drift slide, powered by a power slide on the corner, and just made it look so easy.
Well, easy it may do. Hattori a little bit further back this time because of the...
And they're getting quicker. Look at this.
GT300 that was behind them. And look at that flashing lights there. Is that to tell us something? Or is that the flashing lights which tells us that the second driver will be in that car very shortly? I don't know. No. It's just to warn the people in front of them.
It was get out of my way, and that's the reason. You can see in front of him, it was we're coming through. This is our race. This is the battle for the lead, and you better clear off.
Well, they did. They were having their own. And we are now at lap 65, as you can see in the top corner of your screen there. And it's still a very, very close battle at the lead. It is looking...
Oh, and Ferrari's nailed it here. He's finally got it. Now, this is going to be fascinating because the straight line Porsche speed is the best here. He comes wide. He's going for it. That's the 14 car. Oh, look at that. So easy. No, so easy.
I think the Ferrari...
So easy.
The Ferrari intended to try and squeeze it.
Oh, yeah, but he didn't do it. Look at the difference on that straight. The Porsche has nailed it once again. The Hankook Endless Porsche. Hankook rubber underneath. And, well...
Just been thinking about that straight, you know. If you wanted an airport close to Fuji, you wouldn't really need it. You could actually land the planes on the straight.
You've got to get under the bridge, though, Tony. That's the only thing.
Well, small planes.
Yeah. Well, 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 that's a real shame, and it must be heartbreaking actually to lose that kind of traction when you've set the car up, you've made the move, and all of a sudden it's just snatched away from you. The Jim Carter Ferrari Dunlop machine carrying 20 kilos of ballast, but just, well, maybe it made the difference there on the start-finish straight.
Now let's try and pick up. I know our race director will very shortly want to look at the situation regarding Andre Lotterer and Naoki Hattori. Now, it's the two similar cars, and there's the 11. The Ferrari is going to change driver very, very shortly, but we'll concentrate in a moment or two on the battle at the front, because it is very, very close indeed.
Oh, and they're into traffic as well, Tony, and they've been stalled once again in their attempt to just run away from each other and from the rest of the field. It's situation stable for the time being, but for how much longer?
Well, Lotterer is trying. He's almost trying to claw him, but one minute he gets a little bit nearer, now he's almost 2 seconds off. Yeah, now he's almost 2 seconds off. So maybe that is where Hattori, when he had open space in front of him, he was quick enough to do it, and maybe the inexperience or whatever, separate from Peter Dumbreck's obvious ability, that is now beginning to show, because although he closed, now they've gone through some traffic and he's a little bit further away.
Well, Wakizaka's got his helmet on and looks like he wants to get out there and do some more business, because Andre Lotterer, I wonder if he believes.
Now, Wakizaki has never taken his helmet off since we saw him do that thumbs up. He even did...
yeah, that's right. It was a double stint. He's just itching to get in there, clearly.
Yeah, but there's the Ferrari again.
He's going to get eaten by the fair lady here, and the two of them are going to enjoy the party. Thank you very much.
There's not going to be much room there.
Oh, the Dunlop Ferrari drops 2 spots there, and well, if ever there was an indication, Tony, of just what excess baggage, there's a cost, whether you're flying or driving.
Oh, I saw a puff of
no,
smoke.
so did I, and it looks like a puncture. It certainly does at the back here. Looks like a puncture. Look at him. He's wrestling with it. Oh, and it's starting to shred here. It's delaminating at the back, and
he needs to slow that down.
He does.
As he possibly
needs to get it in.
And let me tell you.
Oh, it's the back end. Look at it.
Carter,
hold on, fella.
Let me tell you what's actually happened.
Go.
He has had a coming together with another car out there. He was in the lead, and he had a coming together with another car. What actually happened, I don't know whether they touched the back.
Let's have a look. Oh, that's it. That's it.
That is.
And in fact, you know what? He's going to be penalised for that as well, because it's a lower ranked car. It's in the 300s. Not only will he pay this penalty, there could well be a drive-through to boot.
Well, Naoki Hattori must be thinking all his birthdays have come at once, because there he was. he caught up with him. He got within 0.3 of a second. It opened up to 2 seconds, and then all of a sudden, I mean, Lotterer, who's been in the car throughout, has made the mistake. They're going to change, obviously, now. The change has been made now. They'll put Wakizaka in the car.
What will be the penalty, Tony?
What, for you making a mistake about saying they could actually have a double victory?
No.
Having had a victory in Suzuka?
No, for basically over-aggression, getting into a lower-ranked vehicle there, one of the 300s, causing the incident. I wonder whether they're going to have to get back out there and then drive through.
Stewards are looking at it now, by the way.
There, the 14 car, the Hankook Endless Porsche. What a result for them if they hold on here.
Absolutely. You know, I'm not going to say it again.
No, go on.
Don't say it again. Go on.
Spreading in third place, their first podium, I'll say it for you, for this brand, Hankook Rubber.
On Hankook Rubber, absolutely right. But it's also going to be the first podium of the season, the first podium for quite some time for Peter Dumbreck. But he's not in the car at the moment. He did the early business with that car. And now it's his teammate, his Japanese teammate, who's got all the Japanese flags waving around this Fuji stadium, and they're willing him on to victory. If the Japanese could will him to victory, well, there's a lot of Japanese power going behind as he threads his way through. This is where Hattori has got to be careful. He's got to measure the corners. He's got to measure the traffic in front of him. They'll be talking to him. They'll be saying, Naoki, please, just make sure it's right. Drive it as if it was steady qualifying now. There's a good gap. There's about 18 seconds there. No need to get loose. Like, for instance, Lotterer got loose. And, you know, Lotterer his teammate Wakizaki is so far behind now, he might as well stop for a sushi sandwich.
Well, the number 18 will still be leading the championship after this one, despite the fact that they've just not strung it together at all here in Fuji. But closing the gap, if it stays like this, certainly getting into the frame. Hattori and Dumbrek, only round 3 of 9, don't forget, but with 6 races to go, they're going to start getting some success ballast. Everyone wants it. If you're carrying the weight, it means that you've made the grade, Tony.
If you're in Scotland and you're watching this, well, it's a Scottish driver who shares this car, a Scottish driver who started with a declaration of intent in this race. Remember the early story, it was the Japanese 5 times winner at Fuji, who is the leader of the championship, who led them away, but after just a few laps, he headed for the pits. He had double problems, in and out, in and out. Dumbrek didn't. A pit stop, Lotterer stayed in the car for his pit stop. He took over the lead, so you had the 2 Lexus Toyota team cars there in first and second place, and then Dumbrek had handed over, and really pressure, I suppose you could say, from Dumbrek's teammates who were watching at the moment. Maybe that pressure got Lotterer to make the mistake, and there's news coming in. I think it's a 35-second penalty. I think it's a 35-second penalty, not for that car, but for the car that led earlier.
Well, they're going to appeal that, Tony, and so we just don't know who's going to appear podium-wise or on the official results at the end. So we're going to we'll have to hang fire on that one just for the time being. But haven't the Mobile 1 done well as well? Ida and Katoka, yes, driven their way brilliantly from way down on the grid. 13th position at the back of the rest, and flashing the light saying, out of the way, I'm coming through on my glory lap.
I'm heading for the podium.
Yes, exactly. Just 2 laps remaining. 1 last time by, and this has been a super day's racing.
And let me tell you that 35-second penalty, you're absolutely right, it's super. Do your arithmetic quickly, Carlton, and you will find there's a change. That it's showing there Wakasaka in 3rd place.
Yeah, they have.
No, it won't be. It won't be. The 3rd place will go to the car that started from the back of the grid. Trust me, it'll be the 2023 car.
Well, what a story that will be if they get on the podium after this day. That will be absolutely amazing. Motoyama and Matsuda, we'll wait and see. They are going to appeal it, Tony. You can be sure of that.
I mean, first of all,
we'll see who stands on the podium is what I mean. It may well be that those positions are changed afterwards. For the time being, though, there's the 36 car has had its problems, certainly. The 35 car, it couldn't have been a different story. They've driven so supremely. It's been as smooth as silk. Real Japanese silk. And I tell you, Peter Dumbrek drove brilliantly in the first stint. He's a great guy, Peter. Very modest about himself, but he was superb here. You ask Peter a question, you always get a straight answer, you know that.
Well, he'll probably give a very straight answer to the young man who's in his car as well, because he certainly is driving a faultless race. We're into the last couple of laps. The Japanese flags quite rightly wave, and of course the majority of drivers in this are of the Japanese, and a very interesting thing that Carlton observed earlier on, that most of the European drivers and drivers from Brazil or otherwise that are in this championship normally let the Japanese driver bring it home. And it's Naoki Hattori, 29 years of age, who is winding the last lap down. He was second way back in 1996 in the Japan GT Touring Series. He competed in Indy Lights in 1997. He competed in the FedEx Championship Series, but in the last few years, Naoki Hattori has not really achieved. Today, he will.
Well, he certainly will. There's nothing stopping him now. And the final series of curves on this beautiful track. Such a safe venue as well. And well, you're going to see an awful lot more of this arena, I'll be bound, in the top end of motorsport in the future. I know they're bidding for Formula 1 status ahead of Suzuka. There'll be arguments about that, I'm sure. But
it'll be interesting to see if Andre Couto, who's laps down on this car, a couple of laps down on this car, if he allows him through, if Naoki Hattori allows Couto to go through, he's only unlapping
just to unlap himself,
because the last thing he wants is a mistake, and that's where, if you like, the experience needs to come in. But this man,
he's driving it in.
The checkered flag.
Yeah, the tablecloth is out, and the lights will shine. They're flashing away. There it is, superb. What an effort, and just taking it off into the dirty stuff while the rest of those still racing around here.
SC430 wins, and SC430 will come in second with the Mobile 1.
And victory for Dunlop as well, let's not forget that.
There's the car that came from 13th on the grid as well. Second on the grid, they started on the front row. They chased after Tashikawa. Tashikawa went out of the race fairly early, though he's been back in it and he's been running since then. He's a good number of laps down. I think he will actually be placed, but outside the championship points.
Crucial time, Tony, was the swap over, wasn't it? We were very worried at one point that once Dumbrek handed over to Hattori that it was not going to happen for them, but they just held it, and brilliantly so as well.
I think Hattori did absolutely. I couldn't take better words than yours. But let me just qualify for you. Not in picture at the moment. It's Shinsuke Shibahara and Hoyuki Yagi have clinched GT300.
Just edging out the top story, in case you were the Toy Story, I should say, not the top story. The 101 car did brilliantly to come through, and Hankook Endless Porsche, number 14, they've done so well for so long in this one, and I think they'll be disappointed with third place.
Oh, I don't know. I think they'll be delighted to be on the podium. Hankook will certainly be delighted.
You will be.
Yeah, well, I just think it's marvellous. A mind of useless information.
Are you on a deal with this one? Well, let me remind you, it's Dunlop that have done it in the 500 class. Hattori and Dumbrek bringing home the Bandai Direzza SC430 maiden victory for
Toyota Team Craft.